Welcome to Gold Derby. I'm senior editor Denton Davidson here with Tiffany Derry, who can be seen Wednesday, June 14th on MasterChef United Tastes of America as a guest judge. Tiffany, your episode is focused on home cooks from the South. You're from Texas. Talk about Southern cooking and what that means to you.
Yeah, I grew up in the South. My family's from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I spent most of my time in Beaumont. So Southern cuisine is all I knew growing up, and it is something that is so close to my heart. So, to be able to come on and represent the South was so special. Yeah, I love all things Southern, and I view it as so much more, than what we often see, right? We often, a lot of times, associate Southern cuisine with like ingredients like fried chicken and mac and cheese and greens. And it's so much more diverse than that. And I think having, the contestants be able to show and expand and really show their diverse of the South, I think it's pretty cool.
Is that what you're looking for when you're looking for chefs from the South? Are you looking for someone to show you more than fried chicken or collard greens or things we might think of when we see that? What do you look for when you look at these contestants of someone who you think they can succeed in this competition?
I'm looking for a few things. In the beginning, I'm just strictly looking for a great plate of food. Like, can this person fundamentally cook? There are a lot of things that can go wrong, especially your first time, right? Like you're on camera, you're nervous, you got this live audience, right? Like the energy is insane. Not to mention you have all of these judges, right, who are there. So if you can hold it together and cook a delicious plate of food, then most likely you really can cook. And so the idea first is that you want to make a delicious plate of food. And then you start looking for a few technical things, right? Is a saute a saute? Is it browned properly? Is it seasoned properly? What are some nuances that they did, right? Is there some creativity on the plate? All of those things are things that you're definitely looking for. And I love a good play on something. So definitely the creativity is important.
And you're guest judging with Gordon Ramsay, Joe Bastianich, Aaron Sanchez. Is
No
there
pressure.
Yeah, but I mean, you're in their league now, but is what was it like judging with them? How much fun did you have? And did you ever have any like huge disagreement? Were you ever thinking like, no, I really like this cook? Did you have to fight it out at all?
Fight is a strong word. There were definitely times where, you're like, I'm feeling it. And there are times where, you know, it may be two or maybe one person on the fence. And I worked with everyone last season as well. So I was on the show last season and it was fantastic to be able to be back. Aaron Sanchez and I go back some years. And so really nice to just see everyone, and it's like coming home when you go back. So it's great to be able to work with everyone. But, we all have different tastes because we all come from different places. But at the end of the day, I think we all know what a great dish tastes like.
You're no stranger to competition. You rose to prominence competing on season 7 of Top Chef. That was like 13 years ago, I think. What does it take to come to do well on a cooking competition?
I think it's really easy to sit at home and say what you would have done, right? Like, had I been there, I would have. But that's not how it goes because, again, you're not thinking about all the other factors. Sometimes your brain just doesn't work that way, right? Like, once I finish cooking, I can think of like 20 other dishes that like. Why didn't I think of that? I mean, I have literally cooked dishes and went, why didn't I think of a dish that I actually have on the menu right now? Why did I make up a whole new dish, right? So oftentimes, you're in it and you cook and you instinctively cook, right? Like you just something turns on and you have to block out everything and you just cook. Um, and it's funny because you don't think about what it will look like months later. You don't think about what people will say when they're watching. You just cook, and hopefully you can lock in to where the nerves go away. And hopefully you remember to taste your food, because a lot of people when they're first starting out, I never really had that problem because I came from a short order cook. So I already knew how to cook really quickly. That's sort of my thing. And I still cook on the line to this day to stay sharp. So I always love to be in the moment, and I drive off of the adrenaline and the energy. So competition sort of is one of those things that naturally came great to me. But I think that, you know, when you're doing this competition, you have to embrace that adrenaline. You have to embrace that rush that you're going to feel. And you also have to slow your brain down a little bit, right? Your mind is starting, everything's going faster. And you just need to slow it down, slow down the breathing, slow everything down, and just execute that dish.
And you haven't won every competition you've been in. I mean, you didn't win Top Chef. So what do you tell people who don't come in first place? I mean, you're clearly one of the most successful people to come from that show. So you don't need to win to succeed. What do you tell people that you have to send home? And what's the toughest part about telling people, no, you have to go home?
You're absolutely right, Denton. I didn't win Top Chef. I won fan favorite, which goes to show that you could not win the entire show, but still walk away as a winner in people's heart. And I think one of the most important things you need to do is be true to yourself. If you're not yourself, and you do these type of things, then when you walk away, you don't feel good, right? You don't feel like you've represented yourself, and people don't get to know the real you. So if they get to know the real you and you're true to who you are, you feel really good about that. And it's like they really know you, and there's a connection that's formed and that continues to live on. I mean, I did Top Chef, I don't know if it's 13, 14 years ago, and there are people who still have a recollection of dishes and moments that I have no clue about right now. And so you really do win a place in people's heart. And I think that it's a really special thing to be able to connect in this way. And it doesn't matter if you win or lose at the end of the day. You just want to be true to yourself, and take advantage of every opportunity that you're given.
What would be your worst nightmare to show up in a mystery box if you were on MasterChef? Like, what ingredient would you be like, oh no?
um,
Because I asked Aaron, and he said his biggest fear is like Japanese food, some sort of Japanese food. That's what.
nah, that wouldn't be mine. Let's see, biggest fear. You know, I'm just not as versed in a lot of like Indian cooking. And so there's a lot of like ingredients that oftentimes they seem like they would be sweet, but they're served in a savory way. You know, I remember having like tapioca, and you have it with salt, and it's like you're looking at it and you think it's gonna be sweet, and then you bite into your savory and your mind is tripping out. So like some of those, but if the challenge is for me to serve it however I feel, then I think I would be okay. But if you tell me how I have to cook it, then we will have problems, some problems. But if you just say, here's the ingredient, cook it how you want to cook it, I think I would do fine.
And what's just been the most enjoyable part of this experience for you, being part of this MasterChef family, and sort of being part of this journey for home cooks to come in and achieve their dreams?
I often tell people, and especially when we were filming, just enjoy this moment, embrace it, because it's special. And you often are so wound up about everything in that moment, and you just want everything to be so perfect, and you want to win. And yes, of course you want to go on, but take a moment to just enjoy it, because life moves so fast, and there are those times within the journey that you don't even remember it because you're moving so fast to get to the next phase and the next step in life. And I think it's important that we, one, just enjoy it, and be proud of yourself for getting to where you're at. And celebrate those small wins along the way. So, you know, there are times I'm like, hey, you're here, you know, you're here. So enjoy that. So I'm very proud of everyone that stepped up and did what others only thought about doing or say they would one day or could do, but they did it. And everyone represented the South so well. I was so proud to be a Southern girl, and I loved it. I loved all their food, and I'm so proud of all of them.
Well, everyone can check out this episode of MasterChef United Tastes of America at 8, 7 Central on Wednesday, June 14th on Fox. Tiffany, thanks for chatting with us today.
Thank you.